Many thanks for rejoining us again on the program. Good morning, Abuja, and it is coming to you from NTA Channel 5 Abuja. And on to our very first conversation on the program this morning. Yes, we are going to talk about the future that awaits us when we talk about Nigerian politics. And I have with me this morning the Executive Director, College Nigeria, in person of Kunle Lawal. Kunle, you are welcome to the program.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be on
Yeah,
NTA Channel
welcome to
5.
Good Morning Abuja. So we know we have a great future that awaits us when we talk about Nigerian politics. Now, how do you envision the future of politics in Nigeria?
Well, first and foremost, when you look at the trajectory of politics in Nigeria, the first thing that's going to come to your head is, are we moving forward? As in, is our democracy actually growing? So, yes, our democracy is growing by the need to participate. But we would also get to a point where you would finally understand that generally, though the need to participate is increasing, the political literacy is dropping. So people do not know what your House of Rep does. People do not know what your senator does. People do not know what your local government chairman does. So the agitation to jump into politics at a particular time or be part or be within something is not really good for a democracy because democracy needs at least politically literate people. So you have this conundrum where everything is, a little confusing. So we're moving forward as we are not moving forward at the same time.
Wow. So, are there any key trends or development that you believe will shape the landscape?
Yeah, so I think that Nigerians should be part of political parties. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Because most of the time, if you look at Nigeria, what you're going to find out is that we do not exactly run an election. What we have is a selection, and this is because predetermined by political parties, which we are not a part of. These candidates emerge, and when these candidates emerge, we are not part of that process. So we now pick, okay, this one comes from East, this one goes to my church, this one is my mosque, and that's how we pick. So we have a selection, not exactly an election. So to prove that, key trends will be joining political parties will be key to political literacy, which I mentioned, I try kind of touched on earlier, would be great. Now, the third will also be a Nigerian identity. Now, what's missing in Nigeria is that we still choose things like we're in 1960. The thing Eastern, Western, and Northern. So what I feel we should grow is a Nigerian an identity, and then try to feel that people can achieve things by meritocracy, not it is our turn or etc., which is what's going on in politics in Nigeria.
Wow. Okay. Talking about everyone should merit it. Now, talk to us about some of the challenges we see in Nigerian politics, and what do you think we will do to ensure we reshape it as we look ahead?
Okay, the first challenge I would like to mention is the high cost of politics. But even though there's a cap on running for office, so within the Electoral Act, you have, yeah, if you're running for president, you can't spend more than 5 billion. If you're running for governor, you can't spend more than a billion. If you're running for Senate, you can't spend more than 100 million, 75 for House of Rep, 25 million for local government chairman, and 5 million for councillors. We have that in play. But as much as that is law, there's nobody exactly in that law where it's written in the act that actually enforces that. So the fact that there's nobody to enforce it means it's rare. But now let's come to the Nigerian part of it. As a Nigerian, and this is because I've been in the same situation before, if you say you're going to run for office, that's the end of you start to buy lunch for all your colleagues because they will say you have a lot of money, and then you go out and in the evening and you're trying to talk to them about I don't want to buying the drinks. I recall a time when I was running. I met someone who used to handle news for me and blogs and stuff, and the person used to do it below 50K. And next thing, because she heard I was running for office, she gave me a bill of 1.2 million.
Wow.
I nearly cut out. And it's so bad that even I remember while running for office, my rent then was I think about 800,000, and the my landlord, the moment my posters came out, my listing, he gave me a 110% raise immediately, and I was like, what's going on? So you see that culture of money, that monetization of politics, It's one of the biggest challenges we have. The media too is guilty of it. The moment a politician comes here, 200, you must collect envelope. No, I know the stray bullet will hit everybody, so you guys should not take it too personal. So yeah, the media too is guilty of it. Let's just say Nigeria is guilty of it. So the monetization is the biggest challenge. The next one will be, of course, our poor understanding of the way things work. I think because we've been under military rule for quite a while, even though we've spent 20 something years in democracy, we still look up to the president for everything. Your road is bad here, or you need refuse. That's AMAC chairman. We're in Abuja, so let me use that's AMAC chairman or Buhari's chairman or Kuje or something. And this, we don't go to that. We blame the president. We don't have a governor in Abuja, if not, that blame the governor. And, we skip, who's supposed to actually do what. When kekes are banned, we think it's the president, we think it's the governor in Nigeria. When this is, and this misrepresentation of who actually handles these things and who actually is in control of these things, it's one of, is I can even say the biggest challenge because you can't hold governors accountable when you are misrepresenting who you are supposed to hold accountable. So, like I said, if there's refuse in front of your house, everybody say, this president is bad, or you start talking about uh, Honorable Minister Wike, who's the minister. The truth is that it's actually the job of the local government chairman. Yeah, sometimes these jobs cross reference, but the first person you have to hold, if any issue is you have any issue with the market, you have any issue with levies, taxes, it's local government. It's not the minister or anybody else. So these challenges of no, these two challenges for me are very, very critical in
And with
pushing.
the rapid changing technology and social media, how do you think these factors will influence political campaign and citizen engagement in
That's a very good question. And okay, so we're going to use 2023 as an example.
Nigeria?
Social media, I would say it's instrumental for campaigning. I don't think it has changed the way people campaign. Now, yes, we've tried to push narratives on social media, but what you have on social media actually is those who are already convinced trying to convince those who are convinced for someone else, and they end up into now.
Mm.
Somebody not interesting, especially on Twitter. It's,
Okay.
it's a crazy world out there.
Mm.
But when you're talking of capture of new voters, it doesn't really occur. Yes, it opens more people's manifestos are able to be propagated more easily. It goes around, but it's always social media has always been a conversation between those who are converted and those who are converted to another. So, like we have maybe APC, Labour, NNPP, SDP, they're already converted people, so they're always throwing ideas across. This is what my candidate wants to do. This is what my candidate wants to do. Social media has been good, but it also has helped in this way, which is improving at least younger ones who are on social media now begin to understand what exactly happens, what a candidate is to say, what a candidate is not to say. And I'll say social media has been very key in educating Nigerians on political, like, go and vote, where to register. When the continuous voter registration started, social media was key to getting, quite a lot of people participating. So social media has been a gift and a curse. It just depends on how you choose to look at it. So the times it's been a great gift, and there are times it's been a massive curse. Misinformation and disinformation was at its highest in 2023. I don't think we've seen anything like that. I used to think 2015 was a bad dream. 2023 made us think 2015 was heaven. And when you get to that point with these things, you ask yourself the real question: is social media really a plus or is it a minus? But the truth is, when you look at it, like somebody wisely put, he said, social media is just a reflection of who exactly we are.
Yeah.
So it's not. So it's who we are. It's not.
Okay.
not
We all know that Nigeria is a diverse country. Now, how can we use our diversity, to better the future of politics as we look ahead?
I think the first thing we need to understand in Nigeria is that if we do not walk out of that canoe of ethnicity,
Yes.
we will never walk in the waters of diversity. And that for me, till every Nigerian gets this, We're not going anywhere politically. We're not advancing. Number one, Nigeria is the most populous black nation in the world. And what Nigerians need to get into their skulls, I don't want to say thick, I mean, I'm on TV. So what we need to get into our skulls is that it's critical to note this. If Nigeria fails, the entire black race, regardless of whether a black person becomes a president in US or in the UK or anywhere else, it doesn't Nigeria, the black race has failed. So if we are able to be Nigerian from that angle and go into politics and realize that we are now a beacon to the black race, I think if every Nigerian understood this, we might be able to change our ways. We mustn't always suppress votes. We mustn't always rig. Anybody that is against us doesn't mean it's a war. We just like I'll give you an example. Um, People supported different candidates. All the four presidential candidates spoke against fuel subsidy. One person got there and did it. All the supporters of the other three candidates were angry. Why are you angry? Everybody was going to do it. So Nigerians misplaced the identity saying, so it means because my candidate didn't win, removing fuel subsidy is bad. It wasn't bad. It was costing us 465 billion per month. So for me, the future, we need to be able to pull that Nigerianness, that the way we used to be, Salah, everybody would, get rice. I remember they used to cook in my house on Salah day.
I always wait for my neighbors.
Yeah,
Like, we
and
celebrate
same
together.
same
We'll
with
do same
Christmas
thing
for
with
Muslims.
Christmas. Yeah.
You can't cook on Salah day. If you
No,
try
not
that,
at all.
food will
Your food will
spoil.
get
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that was the Nigeria I grew up in. And where we all loved each other, where we didn't. Once your name is Kunde, I'll say, okay, you are supporting APC. Once your name is Obi, or sorry, Obi is too close. Emeka, and once your name is Emeka, they'll say you're supporting Labour Party. And then once your name is Mohammed, they'll say, one Nigeria Atiku. Sorry, I spoke outside. They'll say this one is Atiku's own. And we need to stop thinking that way. And we need to start thinking differently.
If we give him all the time, we keep talking.
We won't go anywhere today.
Before I get to wrap up, we have just one question, but we cannot ask this question why we are here. Talking about the role of women in Nigerian politics. It has been a topic of discussion. And going forward, what this administration has done now? What we now going to envisage as we move forward ahead?
Okay, do I answer this question too today? I'm in between two women.
Yeah,
So the future, yeah. There has always been, for me, women in Nigeria just haven't stood up to the power. You cannot win an election in Nigeria without women. And that's the flat line. I've been in politics. You can't pull anything in politics without women. They're instrumental. Now, women have not translated that power which they can use for others, for themselves. That has always been the disconnect. So I don't believe that the Nigerian woman is not powerful. She just hasn't reached the peak of her power. And I pray that as we move along, more women. And the Minister of Youth is a young woman, and we have a lot of appointments. Director Generals, new Postmaster General too. So you're a very young woman, Tola. And as we see this kind of appointments, I think the onus is on these kind of appointments, this kind of people, to push the narrative, to build an idea that women are part of it. They're not just by the side.
You just made that deal with this.
Yes, we are powerful. We are powerful. Thank you for
Thank you
coming
very
on the
much.
program. We'll still have you some other time to tell us more about this.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so on that note, we've been talking with Kunle Lawal. He's the Executive Director, Electoral College, Nigeria. And he has told us a whole lot. The one part I wanted to take home now is that women are powerful. You cannot do politics in Nigeria without women. On that note, we'll take this short break, and after that, the program continues.